This lesson is on possessive pronouns. So just as a reminder, a pronoun takes the place of a noun so that we don't have to say that noun over and over and over again when we're talking about it, a person or a thing. So if I wanted to talk about my dog, for example, I wouldn't have to say proof this and proof that and proof this. I could say she. So a possessive pronoun would replace a possessive noun. So if the noun owns something, then we use the possessive to replace the noun to show that ownership still. Okay, so the possessive nouns fall into two groups. So remember, a pronoun replaces the noun and everything that modifies it, which would include possessive nouns. So let's say Proof owned her toy, right? It's Proof's toy. I could replace that with it, and I could say, or she, her, right? It's her toy. Or I could replace the word toy as well, and I could say it's hers. And so, when it stands alone, is replacing both the possessive noun, telling us who owns it, and the noun itself, the thing being owned, okay? So some examples here. Homer's story is famous, his story is famous. So in this case, it's just replacing Homer's, the possessive noun, story is still there. A fable is a brief tale. Its characters are often animals. Here we're talking about the fable's characters. The word characters is still there. That's what's being owned. So the noun that is being owned or possessed is still in the sentence. When they stand alone, they're replacing that noun as well. So the story is Homer's, the story is his. So in this case, it is replacing Homer's and story. John has a book, the book is mine. Okay, so in this case, mine is replacing both my and book. It's my book, right? So here's how it breaks down in a chart. Again, we have our first person, which is me, second person, which is you, third person, which are other people, not me or you, everybody else. And then we have the plural, so if it's me plus you, it's our. If it's you, it's your, if there's multiple yous, right? And then if it is more than one person out there, it's there. And then if it's used alone, we add the S on the end in the plural, ours, yours, and theirs. And for singular, it would be mine, yours, his, hers, and its. So you can't really tell the difference between yours, plural, versus singular other than context. And then in terms of his and its, again, it's context-based. Is it replacing both the possessive noun, or is it replacing the possessive noun and the thing being owned? Okay. One note, and this is really important. So possessive pronouns do not use apostrophes. So I know that we're always on you about using apostrophes with your possessive nouns, but when it's a pronoun, we don't. And the reason for that is because we do not want to confuse it with the contraction, okay? So in other words, especially with it's with the apostrophe is the contraction it is. Of course, they tell you all the time you shouldn't use contractions when you're writing formally, but in informal writing it's perfectly fine. In narratives it's perfectly fine to use contractions. So the apostrophe is telling us it's two words, it is. So in order to avoid confusion between whether or not it's the contraction or the possessive form, it's, does not use an apostrophe. And that's true all the way through. As you see, when we add those S's, there's no apostrophe in any of them, okay? For your assignment, you're going to write one sentence with a possessive noun in it, like this one. Homer's story is famous, okay? And then in the second sentence, you're going to replace this with the correct possessive pronoun. His story is famous, right? Proof's bowl is in the kitchen, right? So I would replace that with her bowl is in the kitchen, okay? So it's the same sentence, but you're replacing the possessive noun with the possessive pronoun. And identify them both, please. So if you could underline or bold the possessive noun and then the pronoun that replaces it in the second sentence.